The Odin is one of those guns that has an incredible amount of potential, but has some unique challenges and quirks that you'll need to get to grips with if you want to get the most out of it. It's got an incredibly high damage profile for an assault rifle. It can down enemies from full armour in as little as 5 to 6 bullets, and that's with upper body shots, not headshots. This all sounds great, so why aren't more people using the Odin? Why isn't this gun a part of the stable meta of Warzone? If it requires so few bullets to kill an enemy, then surely that would make it more appealing to new players. Well, the answer to that has a lot to do with how this gun handles and performs. Without the right attachments, this gun has a huge amount of recoil and can be very difficult to control. This obviously makes it difficult to use at range and greatly reduces the appeal of the weapon. But I think that the bad stigma surrounding the Odin isn't fair. With the right setup, this gun can be an absolute monster at close to medium range. If you use this weapon in the right way, you can exploit this gun's incredible damage and range to drop multiple enemies with ease. That's what this video is all about, showing off the true potential of the Odin. I've used it consistently in Warzone and it's carried me to multiple wins. I'm going to be showing off a collection of Warzone gameplays that really demonstrate what the Odin is capable of. This is all with the aim of showing you how to effectively use the Odin in Warzone. So if you're looking for a new weapon to try, or have considered using the Odin before, but haven't been quite sure how to go about using it, then look no further than this video. If you want a quick rundown of why I think the Odin is such a good weapon, then here it is. The damage output of this gun per bullet is absolutely incredible. There's never a situation when this isn't a good thing. The Odin punishes mistakes like no other weapon. If you can see the torso of an enemy, maybe a shoulder exposed from cover, then this weapon allows you to exploit that. If you catch an enemy out in the open, it's their death sentence. With the right setup, it's got a great amount of range potential as it doesn't suffer from much damage drop off. It's very versatile and is effective both up close and at longer distances. It's brilliant for softening up enemy targets and burning through their plates. If you're pushing a team, it's great to use this to weaken enemies before you get to close quarters. On the flip side, if you're being pushed, it's great for forcing enemies to slow down as you rip away their armour. It's a great accessory weapon that complements both defensive and aggressive playstyles. The key features of the Odin are its rocket high damage, its slow fire rate, and the powerful vertical recoil. This is definitely one of those guns where the attachments you use can completely transform the weapon. My usual setup for the Odin is the Colossus suppressor, the TAC laser, the VLK 3x optic scope, the Odin factory 810mm barrel, as well as the stippled grip tape. These attachments serve to extend the gun's range to the max, while simultaneously reducing its recoil and making it faster to handle. It strikes that perfect balance between long-range firepower and preserving the mobility needed for more close quarters engagements. I will say though that at long ranges, tap firing this gun is still the best approach. But the low damage drop-off does mean that each shot you hit will be rewarded with a significant amount of damage. Now the Odin is very unique in the way that you have to use it in order to get the most out of it. You can't just charge in with it like an SMG or spray down enemies at any range like an M13. The Odin is best viewed as a powerful short to medium range weapon. As you saw in the introduction of this video, it deals so much damage in such a short space of time that enemies often simply can't get out of the way. It rewards accuracy above all else. If you can make your shots hit, especially if you're able to land headshots, you can break an enemy's plate in a single bullet. At close range, the weapon is very easy to control. The slow fire rate makes staying on target incredibly easy, and you generally don't have to worry about the recoil at all. The sheer damage of this weapon is hugely intimidating as well, as losing a plate of armour to a single bullet isn't fun. This is another perk of the Odin, suppression. If you need to cover a teammate or keep enemies at a distance, the Odin is perfect. It packs enough damage at all ranges that it can easily force enemy players to back off or regroup. As you can see here, I'm using the Odin in conjunction with an MP7. The Odin is perfect for burning plates on enemies at a range that's slightly too long for SMG usage. I can then switch to my SMG while I'm at a distance that better suits it. It nicely bridges the gap between the range where an SMG stops being effective, while still remaining lethal at longer ranges. For instance, an M13 is great at long range due to the low recoil, but at closer distances, other assault rifles will easily outdamage it. That's why the Odin pairs so well with an SMG. It's a big, precise beast that needs a second or two to line up and deal out punishing gunfire. Then, once your enemies are weak, pulling out a fast-handling SMG will allow you to exploit this for maximum effect. Don't get me wrong, the Odin is not designed for point-blank range use. If you expect to be able to hip-fire enemies to death in a hail of bullets, this is not the gun for you. I would also say that this weapon doesn't pair well with a sniper rifle. Snipers are hard-hitting precision weapons, so is the Odin. If you've got a HDR and this thing, you've got no way of panic firing, and no way of quickly reacting to surprise enemies. Hip firing with the Odin is generally out of the question, as it hasn't got a high enough fire rate or a large enough magazine for this to be a viable option. The Odin does a great job of playing the role of weakening enemies before other guns or players can finish for the kill. In team modes, having a player with an Odin can be incredibly beneficial for this reason. With a bit of coordination, the Odin player can soften up targets, making them much easier to kill for other players who are carrying weapons better designed for close range. Now, a big question you might well have about the Odin is, what is it actually good at? Why should I use it over an M4 or an M13? The best answer I can give to that is damage and versatility. The Odin simply dishes out far more damage per shot than just about any other assault rifle. When you combine this with its slow cycle rate, it means you can very easily stay on target at short to medium range. Thanks to the low amount of bullets required for a kill, you don't have to worry about sustained accuracy. Plus, the incredibly high damage will benefit you at just about any range. It's also incredibly effective at dropping enemies who are ever so slightly exposed. This is because you only have to hit a few bullets to demolish an enemy. Like I said before, a key strength of the Odin is that it punishes mistakes that your enemies make. What I mean by this is that if you ever spot an enemy out of cover or with a slight part of their character exposed, then there isn't a better weapon to have at hand than the Odin. More often than not, you'll be able to deal out so much damage in such a short space of time that enemies will not be able to get back into cover fast enough. The Odin is all about control. You're going to have to learn to compensate for the recoil and figure out how to consistently stay on target. You don't have to be on target for long, but you certainly can't expect to just hold down the trigger and wipe out teams. You need to manage bursts of gunfire and learn when to use this gun and when to switch to your secondary. It is not an all-range laser beam like the Grau, but then again, it's got strengths that the Grau never had. It's not a simple point and shoot experience where you aim vaguely near an enemy and the gun does the rest. This gun is built around skill and accuracy. It's at its best when you either pair it with another weapon like an SMG, or use it to obliterate enemies from cover. You can duck and peek around cover, potshotting enemies for maximum effect. The key is to not let yourself be caught out at point blank range with this weapon. It doesn't quite have the rapid handling required for those fast paced engagements. You want to be on target before your enemy is in your face. It's a delicate balance of your enemy not being able to get out of your way, but not being so close that you can't stay on target. No gun is perfect in every situation though. Those that are deemed overpowered or have some other disadvantage. The Odin is a great challenge and rewards some patience. It's very different from the innumerable rapid fire rifles in this game, and offers some different pros and cons that you won't find with any other weapon. If you can get to grips with it, it'll reward your accuracy with damage that outmatches nearly every other gun. It can be a great asset as a machine for burning away plates and supporting your teammates. Give it a try and I'm sure you'll be surprised at how rewarding this weapon is to use. Feel free to adjust my class setup as well. If you want to use it purely for long range, then a sniper scope and foregrip might help you out. If you're leaning towards close range use, then a 5MW laser might be for you. Whatever you choose, be prepared for the learning curve that comes with this gun. But once you're past that, you'll see the incredible power that the Odin commands.